We're Robert and Pauline Crowe, and we're in Cornwall, Ontario. We started coming to Canada on a regular basis about 10 years ago. Absolutely fell in love with Canada and the people of Canada, and decided to make the big step of moving here permanently. We applied for a visa of permanent residence 4 years ago. And after 4 long years of waiting, we just heard in February this year that we had been denied a visa of permanent residence simply because of our autistic son, who's not migrating with us, is autistic, and for that reason alone, we have been denied a visa. To make the situation in our minds worse, Lewis is now effectively banned from visiting Canada even, because he is no longer eligible for any visa at all, which includes tourist visa, which really compounds our sense of devastation, I guess, really.
Now you've your son Lewis, he is 16, 17?
He's 17 now, yeah.
And he's going on to further education?
Yes, he's in a learning disability school over in England at the moment. He'll be there probably for another 18 months, and then Lewis's wish is to go on to a residential college, a term-time residential college, so he'll be coming home either visiting, the original intention, visit us here in holidays, stop with his mum in holidays over in England, and then back to college during term time and be living at the college.
Because you're obliged to sell your home, and
we we bought it.
We could keep it, but because Lewis can't come to visit,
it's a holiday home by definition,
yes.
Because it can't be a permanent home because we can't live here permanently. So we took a risk 3 years ago to buy the home in anticipation of getting a permanent residence visa. We knew that was a risk, yes, because we knew that if we didn't get a permanent residence visa, then it would only ever remain a holiday home. But now, because Lewis can no longer visit us, then we're making the decision, yes, to sell the holiday home and to leave Canada for good.
And have you decided what your future holds for you now?
It's actually quite difficult because obviously our major plans have all been kind of changed completely, because my original plan was to move here permanently. I was offered a job with the blood service up in Ottawa, so I would have been working up there. So now it's kind of, going back to the ideas board again almost. Okay, we can move back to England, of course, and that's essentially what we're going to do initially. New Zealand applies the same kind of restrictions on us and Lewis as Canada does. From what I'm told, they do not. So it may be an option to actually consider migrating to New Zealand.
To the appeal or lack of that process, and the costs that you would have incurred if you had gone that route.
I mean, I guess, first of all, there's technically an appeals process, although, to be fair, my understanding of an appeals process does not quite match what the situation is over here. I would anticipate in government bodies an appeal process to be either to the decision maker or through an ombudsman to the decision maker. Unfortunately, in the case of Canadian immigration, the appeals process is less of an appeal and more of a legal challenge to the decision or the process by which the decision was made. And that really leaves us the only choice, if we do appeal, is to go to the federal courts, challenge the decision. We've been advised that's going to take probably 2 years, in excess of $20,000, and even at the end of that process, if we're fortunate enough for the judge to say yes, the decision was wrong, that in itself does not mean that we get a visa. It means that our case goes back to another immigration officer to reconsider in the light of the judge's decision. So it's just, it's like several rolls of the dice, and you have to win every single roll, and the risk and the time and the cost is just, it's just too great. It means it's not an option for us.
Lewis,
Inadmissible
because of his autism, because he could potentially be a drain on the Canadian health and social services system. However, that inadmissibility means that he can't come here as a visitor as well. But if you're a visitor, you can't actually access the health service or social services.